Why do those pros just rip that ball and it goes in every time? Because they've got a little something on their ball that maybe you don't have enough of, and that's topspin. They've mastered the feel of topspin, which allows you to swing quickly and confidently, and the ball still goes in. So today I've got a video for you, 3 steps on how to master topspin. Enjoy it. I know you're going to like it. And then stick around to the end because I actually have a really great gift for you. So stick around and I know you're going to love it.
Hey guys, it's Pete from Crunch Time Coaching, and today I'm going to teach you how to massive topspin on your forehand in 3 simple steps. So if you're ready to get started, let's go. Okay guys, so I promise you by the end of this video, you're gonna have a very good idea what you're gonna need to do to go out on the court and start hitting topspin today. So make sure you watch this video to the end. Before we get into the how to hit the topspin, I wanna get into the why. Why do we wanna learn how to hit topspin? I think it's gonna make the enjoyment for tennis go up a lot in your game. Tennis can be a frustrating game if you don't know when you hit, if you have no confidence if that ball is going to go in or out, you just don't know. You're swinging, some are in, some are out, some are in the net, and you really don't feel much of a difference in the way you're swinging the ball. So what ends up happening is you're forced to play a much more conservative game, swing a lot slower just to get the ball to stay in the court, and then after a while that can be frustrating because you feel like you can't swing with any freedom. You're not really having much fun out there. You're just kind of pushing the ball to keep it in play. Topspin, even though it's not adding more power to your shot, it's actually taking power away from your shot because you're putting rotation on the ball. It's not going through the court as fast, but it does allow you to swing with a lot more freedom. You're able to go for your shots a lot more and have confidence that they're going to go in every time. So you actually do start hitting the ball harder, if that makes sense, because you feel the freedom to accelerate more. Now, the racket head acceleration doesn't necessarily create the topspin, okay? Creating topspin's a lot more simple than you think. And step 1 in this, I want you to take a look at your grip and consider maybe changing your grip. Here's the thing, you can hit topspin with any grip, okay? You can hit topspin with a continental grip. That's where you pretty much shake hands with your racket. It's the way you serve, but it is harder to do it consistently because when you bring your racket back, and if you bring your racket back even, you see if I'm keeping that, if I take it back there in the courts that way, you can see my racket's even, you think, okay, that looks good, but as you were to swing through naturally, by the time you make contact and you're at the contact point, if you don't change anything, manipulate your wrist at all, and you go to swing with acceleration, the racket face is slightly open and that angle is very brutal to the tennis ball. The ball will just fly on you. You want to create a natural grip that when you're coming up to the ball and you're swinging as fast as you can, that your strings are slightly facing towards the ground or they're pretty much parallel with the ground. If you do those 2 things, most of the time that ball is going to go in if you have the correct swing path. And the best way to do this is with a semi-western grip. So the first thing I'm going to show you today is how to find a semi-western grip. I think it's going to make your life a lot more simple. So once we find that semi-western grip, then I'll show you what happens when we start swinging with a semi-western grip. So rather than making it complicated and worrying where your index finger is in your palm and what bevel you're on, a real simple way to find the semi-western grip, which most of my students, they have no problem. Once you show this to them one time, they can figure out every time, and that's just to drop the racket on the ground. This is a super easy way to find the semi-western grip, and then you just bend down and you pick up the racket. Now once you pick up the racket, the strings are pretty much going to be facing into the ground. This is what you want. This puts you in that semi-western grip. It's kind of like holding a frying pan. Now what happens is when you bring the racket back, the strings start to naturally face towards the ground. And you might be a little alarmed looking at that, thinking, well, if my strings are facing the ground this much, how is that ball possibly going to go over the net and then keep the ball in? But something magical happens as you continue your natural swing path to the ball. Look, as I come here and I start to drop and I come up, look now as I go to hit. I'm not doing anything. In fact, I'm just keeping my wrist in that same position. Watch this. right here, and then I drop, and then I start to come up. The wrist is locked in position. I'm not using a lot of wrist action. And then by the time I come to my contact point, you can see how those strings are now facing. And by me doing this, I'm going to be imparting topspin on the ball with little effort. I'm going to show you how little effort it takes today to put the topspin on the ball. So that is key. And once I do that, now I can take a nice rip through the ball with confidence. You see how that ball started off high, which is cool because our first obstacle is the net, and then it's still dropped in the court. That gives me a lot of confidence and freedom to go for my shots. So step 2 is making sure, this is really, really important, that you are coming up on the ball, especially if you are at the baseline and you have to hit over the net. You're going to be coming up to the ball. You want your racket to be beneath the ball. So let's say my fist is the tennis ball. I want to get my racket a good 1.5 feet under that ball, and I want to be coming up to it. So what happens there is I come up to the ball with my strings like this, and it comes from low, and I come up, and I keep kind of swinging up. We do want to swing through it a little more too. That's going to give us some topspin, but just by that movement, now we're creating some friction on the ball from coming low up without the strings being open. See, once that happens, you're going to lose all topspin, guys. Once there's a slight little tweak, and this is what people do because they want to keep the ball in play, they do a little tweak with their wrist. And once you do this, all the topspin leaves your racket and you're not going to be able to control the ball. So this is the one thing you don't want to do. You want to trust. You want to come from here to here with zero tweak. Zero tweak. Just by doing that, look how slow I'm swinging right now. Guess what? I'm going to get this orange ball here, and I'm going to show you how it rotates through the air just by coming here, below, and up to it. No racket head speed, right? No tweaking of the wrist, just from low up to the ball. And you can see that ball rotating end over end. Again, I'm not doing any big tricks here. I'm coming from here, basically coming forward, almost pushing the ball through, and it's rolling. So now we really have the topspin in 2 simple steps. But my third secret to massive topspin on the forehand is the follow through. Because if you come here and you consistently have the follow through the correct way, it creates even less of a chance that you're going to do something weird in here, right? If you're coming here and then you kind of mess up your follow through and do things like this or follow through like that, then there's a good chance as you're hitting the ball, you're opening up and the ball is going to fly away. So what I want to do is after I feel that ball leave my racket and I reach out as far as I can, see I'm going to come here, I'm going to hit, I'm going to reach out as far as I can. Once I get to there, now I'm going to do what I call turning the doorknob. Tom Avery also has a good one where he talks about taking this and using this as a trigger finger and lifting your index finger here and kind of rolling it over, pushing the racket over, and then finishing here in what I like to call the sideways hello position. So if we do that consistently every time, we're going to create this action on the ball, and that enables us to go faster and faster, and then the ball goes in every time. So I'm coming here, once I push through, now I start to turn the doorknob over, I have that sideways hello finish, and now there in 3 simple steps, we've got massive topspin on our forehand.
Okay, so how's this for a gift? I went on my own Upgrade Your Forehand journey, and I filmed a bunch of videos, but there's 3 lessons that I did that I absolutely loved. I did a lesson with Rick Macy. I went down to Florida, paid him $500 for a lesson, spent a fortune on this actually. Then I went and flew across the country and took a lesson from Jeff Saldenstein, took my girlfriend. That was not cheap. And then I had a lesson with Dr. Mark Kovacs, wrote him a check for $500. And so that's what you're going to see in this 3-part training series. So if you want to see a $1,500 3-part training series, well, actually, it's more than that, but I will just leave it at that. Anyway, if you want to do that, click the description below or the comment section, and let's see, what else should you do? You should like this video, comment, and subscribe, and thanks so much for all your support. I hope we're getting out on the court soon.